This tutorial is going to offer you a general overview of our PowerChart FirstNet. Our objective is to show you how to check in or check out as a provider or reassign your patients as that assigned provider. Give you a general overview of the tracking shell, including the All Beds tab. Also, we're going to show you our tracking shell toolbar, or we'd like to call that the icons, and the basic column structure. First, we're going to have you log in. You're going to use your assigned username and password. The first window that will appear is your available provider check-in. It wants you to click yes, and make sure at the left lower hand corner at the available provider box is checked, so you can assign yourself properly to any patients that you decide to see. Go ahead and click OK. And this will bring you to the FirstNet tracking list and the ED All Beds tab. This shows you exactly every bed that is assigned to a patient, every bed in the emergency room that is available or unavailable, including triage and the waiting room. You'll see other tabs here. The ED Doctor tab will show any patients that are directly assigned to you. The ED Trauma tab will show just the trauma pod, including the waiting room. The ED Medical tab shows the medical beds, including the waiting room. The ED Fast Track just shows the Fast Track and the waiting room. ED Triage and waiting room is showing just that. Your ED Pending Lab shows any patients that have any outstanding labs, whether they be blood cultures or those types of things. Your ED 36-hour lookup is any patient who has been in the emergency room in the last 36 hours. Your ED Available Staff tab shows any providers that are there for the day, showing phone numbers, contact information, or anybody who has been assigned to a patient. Your Pending Dictation tab is for physicians only. This shows if a patient has been dictated or not. We're going to start with the general icons on the ED All Beds tab, since this is showing everything that's going on in the department. Your first tab is your pre-arrival patient. This will open to a form that will be completed by the nurse, the tech, or anyone who has information about a transferred patient. This would cover ambulances or other hospitals. The next icon is the Open Patient Chart. This will open up to any place in the patient's chart that you would like to place any information. The next icon is the Set Events icon. If you click on this, it will show any events that need to be completed. You can add events or complete events. The next icon is the Base Location icon. When you click on this, it will show you where you can assign or move a patient to any other area of the department, change their room, or let someone know that they've been in an X-ray or a CAT scan. The next icon is your provider checkout. This will automatically unassign you from any patients that you've been selected. Or if you've not been selected on any patients, you can go ahead and click here, and this will assign you to the patients that you want to be seeing for the day. The next icon is your provider checkout. This is taking you back to the window that you initially saw when you first logged in, with your username and password at the very beginning of this tutorial. In the left lower hand corner, it shows Available Provider, and that box is not checked. That shows that you have checked out as the provider for the day. The next icon is your Discern Reports. This will show you many different reports from the emergency room and anything that you may want to see that's specific information on taken from earlier. Your last icon is your discharge process. If you click on this, it will open up a window that will take you and start the discharge process. Now moving on to the columns. Your first column, if you highlight a patient, there will be a little blue arrow that shows in the very far left corner. If you double click on this, it will take you to your ED summary page. The next column is the bed column. This will show all of the available beds and every bed that has been assigned in the emergency room. The next column shows you several different icons, whether the bed has been assigned, available, dirty, held, or out of service. This is the way that we communicate with each other, so that way two patients don't get put into the same bed. The next column is visitor information. This shows whether patients can have visitors, they want visitors, or all of the above. The next column is your isolation column. This is going to display whether this patient needs to be on any type of special precaution. Your next column after that is your name column, verifying if the patient's last name or first name are present. The next column is your fall risk column. This would be populated by a leg icon, and that would be if a fall risk has been placed on this patient. The next column is your age column, showing the color for their sex and showing their age in years. The next column after this is your allergy column. It will display a dark blue sun whether a patient has been placed with allergies, and if you double click, it will show any of the allergies that have been placed. Otherwise, you'll see a clear sun that will show no allergies that have been placed. Your next column is reason for visit. When a patient's been checked in by ambulance or triage, the form that they choose, and the reason for visit, or the chief complaint that they choose will populate after completing that form. The next column is your length of stay. This shows how long the patient has been in the emergency department. Your next column after that is your emergency provider. This shows the physician, resident, or medical student that has been assigned. If you double click, you can actually assign yourself strictly from this column or anyone else to the patient. The next column after that is your RN column. Also double clicking on that column will allow you to populate the nurse or yourself right as the provider. The next column after that is your dictation pending column. This is strictly for physicians, allowing the physician to pick several different items from the drop-down menu to help them keep track of who they've dictated and which patients haven't been dictated. Your next column is your to-do column. These icons that you see in this column automatically fire when a patient's been registered into the FirstNet tracking list. If you hover over each icon, it will show you which items need to be completed, including isolation screening, document home meds, RN exam, doctor exam, and all these icons will disappear after those proper forms have been completed. Your next column is your orders column. These icons will specifically fire when specific orders have been placed by the physician or the nurse. This would include respiratory, certain patient care items, labs, radiology, EKG. Your next column is your lab column. This shows specifically how many lab orders have been placed by a provider. And if you hover over the number, it will show you exactly what labs have been ordered. Your next column is your radiology column, also showing the totality number of x-rays that have been ordered. And if you hover over the numbers, it will show the specific orders that have been placed. Your next column is your disposition column. An icon will appear whether there's been an admit, transfer, or a discharge order placed. This would usually be placed by the physician. Your next column is your comment column, where you can free text any information pertinent to this patient. I hope that this information has been helpful for you.